So I've never done a Halloween video as of yet. I'm thinking to myself, do I really have to wait till Halloween to do a Halloween video? And is this halfway to Halloween video? Or is it 3/4 to Halloween video? You be the judge. Hello, all you DIY fiends out there. Welcome to the Creature Comforts channel. So I've had these pumpkin candle holders around my house for years. I think I got them at Spirit Halloween, and I've never really used them as candle holders. I didn't like the way they looked with candles in them. So I've come up with a couple ideas on how to change these and make them a little more useful in different ways. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove this metal candle holder out of the top of it. You've seen me use these on other projects on the channel. I want to keep the tops of these pumpkins, so I'm going to use these little sharp clippers that I got at Harbor Freight. The tops are kind of jagged back and forth, so I can't just take it to my bandsaw and cut it off. And taking a razor and just shoving it in there, you could easily cut yourself. These clippers are a little safer to use. Mind you, they are tougher to use and it takes a little longer to do, but to get the top off the pumpkin and keep the top, this is the way I'm going to do it. You can't always cut directly on the line with the way I'm doing this, so there's little edges that need to be trimmed off. There, now I can utilize the top and put it back on the pumpkin if I want to. Because of the clipper idea of cutting this out, it was little small cuts, so the edges are really jagged, so I'm going to flame polish the edges of the top and bottom. Disclaimer, be careful when you're using flames. My fingers got pretty hot doing this. This is made out of a plastic rubbery substance, so it's probably best to do it in a well-ventilated area. Be careful not to hit it too long with the flames, just because it'll burn it, plus it'll shrink it. I got this piece of coat hanger wire and I'm going to make a handle for the top of it to make it into a basket. You could use any wire, it just depends on how strong you want the handle to be. I just had this laying around and that's what I used. I'm going to bend the coat hanger around the way I want it to look in order to figure out where I'm going to attach it to the sides. This coat hanger wire is pretty heavy duty for what I'm using it for. Some aluminum armature wire would probably be better to use and it'd be a lot easier to bend, but I didn't have any on hand. Now that I got the placement of the handle, I'm going to drill the holes in the sides by eye. I made little tabs on each end of the wire so that I could go through the pumpkin and bend them in place to more securely attach the handle. I'm going to wrap this handle with jute. I would suggest, if you do this yourself, to wrap the handle before you put it on. I went the hard way to do it and wrapped it after the fact, so it made a tangled mess. If you do it, then wrap the handle beforehand, and it's much easier. I could only do 3 or 4 wraps at a time, and it would end up wrapping itself around the other end of the handle. It would be so much easier to do it before you put it on the pumpkin. To finish this jute off on the end of the handle, I just ended up clipping it off and hot gluing it in place. Do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe. And now for my second idea on what to use these for. To start off this one, I'm going to make a plug out of a 13/16 dowel for the top of the pumpkin. I'm going to shove the dowel down into the top of the pumpkin, and then I'm going to mark it right at the top of the pumpkin to cut it off. I'm going to use this piece of doweling as a base to sculpt a stem out of the top of the pumpkin. I'm drilling a hole in the top of the dowel to attach a screw into it, and this will make the Sculpey more permanently attached to the dowel. It's off center because I had a plan to drill another hole in the bottom of it to attach it to the lid of the pumpkin, but I didn't end up doing that. I'm going to add some bacon bond to the top of the dowel and screw to more permanently affix the Sculpey once I sculpt on top of it. Because once you apply this and then you put the clay over top of it and then you bake it, it just helps it bond all that much better. Hence, bacon bond. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to get a basic shape and keep it close to the size of the dowel itself, and then I'm going to bake it, and then we'll get into more detail. After baking it for 20 to 25 minutes and letting it cool, now I'm going to make some snakes to make the texture of the top of the stem. In order to attach these snakes, we have to add some bacon bond to bond the Sculpey to the Sculpey. I start out by making a spirally pattern going all the way around the stem. I secure that one snake on with sculpting tools to make sure it stays in place, and then move on to the next one and the next one and the next one until I fill the whole area. What I'm doing here is just using various sculpting tools to slim down the spirals and give it more of a pumpkin stem look. I'm going to scrape away the clay that's kind of spilled down into the dowel just so it doesn't interfere with the stem going into the lid. Every once in a while I put it inside the lid just to make sure everything looks proportionate and it looks good. I put a nice little curl at the tip of the stem just to make it look sort of like the stem was peeled away from the plant, like on a normal pumpkin. I got it all baked up again, and now we're going to put some powder on the top of the pumpkin lid so that what I sculpt next doesn't stick to the pumpkin lid and I can pull it back off. I'm going to sculpt up some little root-like tendrils that go down in the deep areas of the lid all the way around it. All baked up one last time, and now we're going to test the fit just to make sure it didn't move in the oven, and then we'll move on to paint. I'm gonna paint the stem with a base color of black. A lot of these acrylic paints, especially the ones with the bigger lids, they have a cardboard top inside the lid. A lot of times that breaks down. So I take a piece of plastic wrap and put over top of it just to keep the paint longer. A lot of times after shaking it up, you can just use the paint off the plastic for smaller things. I'm using black as a base tone for the stem. First of all, because the pumpkin has black undertones in it. And second of all, it makes my dry brushing of the different colors that I'm going to use on the stem darker. I get going and then I forget to show the labels of the paints that I'm using, so I will put them on screen so that you can see them. But because I'm using a black undertone, you could probably use any color close to what I'm using because of the fact that once I dry brush it on, the black changes the color so much. Now I'm going to get out some of the green and some of the yellow and mix them together to make a lighter yellowy green. With this lighter green-yellow color, we just want to hit the tippy tops of the detail in the stem just to give it a highlight point. And the final step, let's put our stem back into the pumpkin and see what it looks like. Now I got a basket and a little container that I could use for decorate for Halloween, which in my house they stay up all year. But the container, I can put little trinkets in, same with the basket, or I can decorate the basket with grass, whatever I want to do. And what you didn't see off camera, I built a number of these because I've had 5 of these. And what's better than one of each? A whole set of them. I think these turned out great. 2 different ideas from one candle holder that I've never used as a candle holder, and I would never put them together on a shelf. And now they look great as a set. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to see further content. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. And like the video. See you all next time.